Hello friends, welcome back to Azure 204 Lab 3, Exercise 3. So here's lab scenario and we have already completed exercise 1 and exercise 2 in the last videos, and in this video we'll work on the exercise 3. Okay, so let's go to the instruction page. Okay, so here we are, exercise 3. Task 1 is to create a .NET project. So we need to go and start the VS Code first and then open folder. We need to go to this particular path. Lab 3 starter and blob manager. Okay, so let's go and do this one. I will open VS Code first. Okay, here it is, and file, open folder, lab 3 starter and blob manager. Okay, good. Now once you are there, open terminal and at the open command prompt enter the following command: to create a .NET project named blob manager. Okay, so we need to run this particular command on the terminal. So I'll copy the command from here. I'll go back to VS Code. I will open a new terminal. Okay, and I'll just simply paste the command. It says .NET new console dash dash name blob manager in the current directory. So it will create a new project. Now here you can see with the name as blob manager. Okay, let's go back to the instruction. So here we are good. Now next thing is that at the command prompt enter the following command and hit enter to import version 12.00 of Azure Storage Blobs from NuGet. So we just need to run this particular command. I'll copy, go back to the .NET VS Code, and here is my terminal. I'll simply paste the command. It says .NET add package. So we are going to add this particular package, and this is the version 12.00. Hit enter. Okay, so here we are good with the package. Now next, step 7 says at the command prompt enter the following command: .NET build. Okay, and then close the terminal. So I'll simply go here, we'll run the command .NET build to build the project. So there are no errors, everything looks good. Now we can close the terminal. So we are good here. Let's go back to the, so here we are done with the task 1. Now task 2 is to modify the program class to access storage. So we need to go back to the VS Code, need to open the program.cs file, and then on the code editor tab, program.cs file, delete all the code. Okay, and we need to import these many packages. Okay, so I'll copy the packages from here, Control C. I'll go back to the studio and I will open program.cs. So now first of all we need to delete everything whatever is there. We'll paste the new packages or namespace: Azure Storage, Azure Storage.blobs, Azure Storage.blobs.models. Let me just save this one and I'll go back to the browser. Now we need to add the following lines of code to add using directories. So we just need to add these two more. I'll paste here. Okay. Next is that we need to write a new function. Also basically need to create a new class first. Class name is program. And then in the program class enter the following line of code to create a new connection string. Okay, so basically we are just going to declare a new variable called blob service endpoints. Okay, now update the blob service endpoint string constant by setting its value to the primary blob service endpoint. So basically if you guys remember in the very first video we copied this particular endpoint, so we just need to copy and go back to the go back to the code, and here we need to paste this one. Okay, I'll save. Let's go back to the browser. Now, so here we are good. In the program class, go and create another variable called storage account name. Okay, so I'll simply go and paste this one here. Again, if you guys remember, we copied our storage account name, so it's here. I'll simply paste it here on this particular variable. Control S. So go back to the browser, update the storage account name we just did. Now in the program class, enter the following line of code to create a new string constant named storage account key. So I'll simply copy this one. I'll go back to the VS Code. I'll paste it here. And here also we need to enter the key which we copied earlier. So I'll paste the key here. So basically in the program class, we created three variables. One is blob service endpoint, then storage account name and key to access the storage account. Okay. Now let's go back to the browser. Update the storage account key. Just did. Now in the program class, enter the following code to create a new asynchronous main method. So we just need to copy this one. Public static async. We'll be creating a new method. Okay. Now observe the program.cs file. So it should have, we do have the namespace, we do have the class, we have three properties, and we do have a main method. So we are good here. Now task 3 is to task second was to modify the program.cs class. We just did. Now in task 3 we need to connect to the Azure Storage Blob Service endpoint. Okay. So now in the main method, add the following line of code to create a new instance of storage shared key credential class by using the storage account name and storage account key. Okay, so we'll simply copy this particular piece of code and paste into the main method. Okay, now let's go back to the browser. It says in the main method, add the following line of code to create a new instance of blob service client by using blob service endpoint. So I'll simply copy this particular piece of code from here and I'll paste inside our main method. Okay, so here we are first creating account credentials and here we are creating a blob service client. I'll save. Next is in the main method, add the following line of code to invoke get account info asynchronous method of the blob service client. Okay, so we just need to invoke this particular method which will call, there is a method in blob service client get account info. Okay, now in the main method, add the following line of code to render a welcome message. So this is just going to print a message. Here it is. Next thing, in the main method, add the following line of code to render the storage account name. Okay, so it will just go and fetch the detail. So this particular method will get the account information and here we are going to print the account name, storage account name. Okay, now next thing is to, in the main method, add the following line of code to render the type of storage account. Let me just copy. I'll paste it here. So if you see here, okay, now let's go back to the browser. Now here is our complete main method. It should look something like this. Save the program and run this command .NET run. Okay, so let me just save this in. So here is our main program called program. Here is our class. We initially defined or created three string constants: blob service endpoint, storage account name, and account key. And then we have used this particular class, and here is the method to fetch the account details, and then we have used blob service client to fetch the blobs detail. So if you see in like what we are doing here, we are fetching the account information. So storage account is here. Now once you have this, like this particular method get account info will get the storage account information, and then we are using this particular variable called info to fetch the details like account kind, account SUK name, and you can make use of this particular variable to fetch other properties of the storage account. Okay, now we just need to run this particular program. So what I will do is I'll simply go and open a new terminal and so the command to run a .NET project is .NET run. You should see the details here. Now say It says connected to Azure Storage account. Here is my account name, here is account type, and here is account SUK, right? So our program is working perfectly fine. Let's go back to the instructions. Observe done. So here we are done with the task 3 as well. Now let's talk about task 4. Task 4, it says enumerate the existing containers. So we need to go to the program class again, and in the private static method name, we need to create a new method in our class called enumerate container async. Okay, so just copy this one. So we are just going to create a new function. So I'll just simply write, I'll put here a new function. Next is, now we need to add this for each loop. I'll simply copy and I'll paste it here. Let me just inside the new function. Okay, so this is our for each loop. Now next, in the for each loop, we need to add this particular piece of code. It will print the container name. Okay, now observe the enumerate container async method. So here is our new method that we just created. It will go iterate through, so it will iterate through all the containers in the storage account, and it will print the name. Okay, that's good. Now in the main method, enter the following code at the end of the method invoke. Okay, so let's go and call this particular method. Here we are going, sorry. So this is my main method, yes. So here we are going to call this new function which we just created. Okay, save. Now in the main method, so this is how our main method should look like. We are good here. Save the file and run the program. Okay, so what I will do is I'll just control S. Let's run this program. .NET, sorry, .NET run is the command to run our program. Hit enter. So now what I'm expecting here is, I'm expecting all the blob details, like all my storage account information. Here you can see, right? Apart from that, I'm also expecting the containers, the name of the containers which are there inside our storage account, this one. So there are two containers. If you guys remember, in the initial, like in the beginning of this lab 3, we created two containers. One is compressed audio, second one is raster graphics. So you can see those two container names are printed here. Okay, now let's go back to the instructions. It says, okay, perfect. So we are done here with the exercise 3 as well. In the next video, we'll work on exercise 4. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.